Hello, this is Dave coming at you with a public service announcement of sorts. Um, no, what I'm actually coming with a serious matter today. Something that was dealing with my health, something that I was very concerned about. Something I said there's no way that can be true or possible, and I was like, but it's not a lot of skin off my back to try this and see if it prevents me from having to go to the doctor, having to get another medication, side effects of that medication, which I know people that take these type of medications have reported. And you're like, well, what med is it? Talking to you today about blood pressure. And basically, about a month ago, I had my little blood pressure machine. I'll go get it. Okay, I'm back. I used my little blood pressure machine and I took a reading and it was high. I'm not even going to say high, but let's just say it was north of 180. This was not in the morning. This was the middle of the evening. I had been chewing a nicotine lozenge. I don't smoke, and I don't really drink a lot, but I had a nicotine lozenge I just finished, and I figured that made it a little bit elevated, and it got me nervous. And I was like, well, I took my reading, and I was like, I got to do this in the morning. And I went to ChatGPT, of course, and I said, how do I accurately measure my blood pressure? And they said, first thing in the morning, before coffee, before any of that, that's what you need to do. So I took readings the next day, and I found out that, hey, pretty high. I was like in the mid to upper 170s, right? I'll just say 175 because that's like a standardized number. But then I thought maybe this thing's busted or there's something wrong with it or it's not accurate. So I got a second one, a different brand, different everything, and it more or less confirmed it. So it wasn't the machine. I had two different machines, both saying, let's just call it 175 when I woke up in the morning. Specifically 176 over 106 was my exact number in these machines. And ChatGPT is like, and I renamed my ChatGPT Jarvis. Go figure. And Jarvis is like, hey, you got to go see a doctor. There's something very, very wrong with you if your blood pressure's that high. He's like, it's the silent killer and all that. And I was like, oh, my dad didn't die of a heart attack, but he did have 4 of them. So, knock on wood, I have not had a heart attack, but I'm concerned about it with a family history and all that. So, I got to thinking, well, what can I do? And I started looking around, and somehow or another, I stumbled onto some YouTube videos where people talked about olive oil, specifically the Mediterranean diet, extra virgin olive oil, either putting a bunch of it on food, but I don't eat a lot of salad, so I was like, it's not going to quite work. And a lot of the stuff I had, I just couldn't find an easy way to work it in unless I switched to like pasta and stuff like that. And I didn't want to change my whole diet. I didn't want to change really anything. I just wanted to get my blood pressure down. And I didn't want to have to go to the doctor and get meds. So I'm watching YouTube and I'm looking at these YouTube videos and I see these guys saying, this is what happened after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe one guy did 30 days. I don't know, but I watched a couple of them. And they all basically said they have a daily intake of extra virgin olive oil, and it drove their blood pressure down. So, to be honest, I thought a lot of these guys were just trying to sell olive oil, and they all had their affiliate links. So let's get a few things off the table right now. I'm not sponsored by anybody in any capacity. Heck, my YouTube's not even monetized. So I make no money off of this. I am not going to give you affiliate links. In fact, I went to the trouble, and you probably can figure this out, but I scraped the labels off of the olive oil I've been using for this, right? So I don't want to say buy this or that brand. In fact, there is not one specific brand that's going to work better than another. I'll get into, you have to buy the right kind of olive oil, but there's lots of brands you could buy. You don't have to buy any one specific one, but you have to have a shopping criteria for getting an olive oil that's actually going to help you. But there's over a dozen brands that are actually good that'll work. I've mostly done one brand. I went on vacation. I had to do another brand. Luckily, the people I was at their home had another good brand that I could use, and I did that for a couple days. But if you get the right olive oil, that's what I've been doing. So how have I been doing this? I guess I should get to that. I have a shot glass. I have the good olive oil. I pour a shot in the morning after I take my blood pressure. And I can't drink this straight. I don't know why. Maybe some people can. What I do is I have a chaser. Not a good chaser, but I have a chaser. It could be orange juice if you want it. I take a little tiny swig, mush it around, and before I suck down the swig, I do the olive oil shot, and as soon as that comes off my lips, I follow it up with the rest of the chaser. I can honestly say, maybe it's from all the drinking in college, I can do this so well that I literally do not taste the olive oil. Maybe just a tiny little hint, but it's gone before you know it. So, and I don't gag, I don't grimace, I can bang, bang, bang like the best of the college kids today. I never lost that skill from school. And yeah, basically this is how I've been doing this. And I've been doing this for almost a month now. I guess 28 days will be tomorrow, Monday. And I started this on a Monday. So given all this, you know, I used the two machines. I watched the videos and thought they were just olive oil sales pitches. And I started doing this. So what happened? The results. So originally 176 over 106, not good. At 21 days, I went down to 149 over 81. So that's like 25 some odd points or a little bit more. 25 points in 3 weeks. Let's talk about what I did not do. Change of diet? Nothing, man. I'm still eating Pop-Tarts. Not all the time, but I didn't change anything. I didn't say I'm going to avoid this, avoid that, or I'm going to go for this. No. I just ate whatever was in my house like I normally would. Didn't change any of that. Didn't change the time I eat. One of the worst problems with my diet is I eat after 9 p.m. Bad. I know it. I still do it. Didn't change that. Add the exercise. Didn't do that. Work from home. Kind of sedentary lifestyle. I do walk around my house and do home repairs and stuff like that. But I'm not doing an exercise routine. I'm not doing any type of cardio for 30 minutes. Nothing. All I did was the morning shot. Literally, that was it. And that morning shot got me down, 25 some odd points, right? Today, this morning, I was 146 over 74. That's 30 points in 27 days. Now, here's another weird side effect. All right, so anyway, so that's what I did. That's the results I've got. I'm going to probably be like 30 points in 30 days. So every day could have been a point reduction in blood pressure, which is kind of wild when you think about I did nothing else. I mean, this is the ultimate lazy way to get your blood pressure down. So given all of that, let's talk about some of the side effects. First of all, none of them are negative. I do not get hungry as often. Usually I could always eat all day long. I just have a hunger that's like insatiable, man. I'm always hungry. For some reason with the olive oil, I don't get as hungry. Even weirder, I sometimes would go to Chipotle and get the bowl. Always could finish my Chipotle bowl. I find myself eating half of any portion size, wrapping it up and eating the other half later. So I didn't try to do this. I was just like, oh, that's weird. I ate half of my Chipotle bowl and now I'm full. I'll eat the other half in a couple hours or later on. That just started happening. I don't know if the olive oil coats your stomach and deals with hunger in some other weird way. I don't know. I just noticed that happen. So that was one thing. And a result of this was, and here's the problem, I'm fat, so I went from 265 to 251 in 21 days. So I lost 14 pounds. Again, I didn't do any of this to lose weight. I just wanted to get the blood pressure down. So I find myself with less hunger, eating a little bit less, and enough to lose 14 pounds in 21 days. So I was like, that's kind of strange. All this happened. For comparison, my 75-year-old godfather comes over one day, and I tell him about all this, and we get out the machines and we start doing them. Now, he's 139. He's not exactly in great shape, and he doesn't do any type of exercise, just like me, and he eats what he wants when he wants, although he does go to bed much earlier than I do. He's at 139, but he's on medication. I'm not. So I probably in the next week to 10 days, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to get into the 130s if the trend continues. Doing this morning shot of olive oil, if the trend continues, I'm going to get to the medicated level of another person, but I'm not. I never went to the doctor. I never did the medication. I guess at some point I am going to go to the doctor, but I think I'm going to go when I actually start to plateau on the blood pressure, so that way they don't try to prescribe me something for my blood pressure. One other effect that I noticed was sometimes I would have constipation from a medication I take for my bad knee, and no more constipation with olive oil. I guess it lubes up your system or something, but constipation gone, weight's lost, appetite's decreased, and blood pressure's down 30 points. So I think that's all kind of weird, but it's working. So who am I to question it if it works? It's not that hard, and that's my result. Now, before you're going to rush off and do this, we need to have a little chat about olive oil. EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. They are definitely not all the same, and I didn't know this. I've always for years bought a brand like this, and I'm not saying this is a bad brand, but when you read the label, and I'll leave it up to everyone to read the label, this comes from 11 different countries. This is like they'll say international blend or something. It tastes fine to me, but when you buy an olive oil, if you want to reduce your blood pressure, you got to get the right kind of olive oil, and this is something I had to learn. I didn't know. I thought they were all the same. I didn't realize some of these brands are like 50% corn oil mixed in with blends from all these other olive farms where they're the reject olives get sent somewhere, and somebody buys a whole bunch of reject olive crop, puts it in, mixes it with corn oil, and then sells it as olive oil. That's kind of weird. And I know they have these EVOO certifications, non-GMO. You can't really trust that. What you need to know, if you're going to do this, you got to buy the right olive oil. How do I buy the right olive oil, Dave? I'm going to tell you. Here's what I've been using, and it's working for me. Different results, different people. Single farm, single source. The brand I went with, which I'm not going to tell you because I'm not trying to sell their olive oil, it comes from one farm, right? And it'll say this on the label. If it says international blend, run away from it. If it says sourced from multiple places, get out of there. You want a single farm. Even better than a single farm. And trust me, the good stuff is going to tell you this. The cheap stuff, I think this was like $7. This was like 25. The cheap stuff, it might not print this. And if you don't see it, it's probably not being done. Safe little bet there. Single harvest, single farm. So that means this farm, only this farm, put what's in the bottle, and it came from a single harvest. Sometimes they'll even list, the really good ones will list the harvest date. You don't need the harvest date, but single harvest, right? No blends. You don't want blends even from that farm. You want to just have, they picked the olives, they mushed them, and they made the olive oil in one sitting. That's, if you can get that, and again, the good bottles will tell you this, you can do that. If you can get cold pressed, that's always better if you can get cold pressed, but I'm not going to say that's essential. It's just a nice to have bonus, right? And here's the dead giveaway for everyone else. Price. $7, and this is 1.5 liters, right? $25. It's a fifth. It's 750 milliliters. So I'll just draw the line at $20. If you're not spending $20 on 750 milliliters or less, you're probably not getting the right stuff. $25 is probably what you're going to pay. Does it need to be from Italy? No. You can get it from anywhere. But again, single farm, single harvest, no blends. If you shop by that standard, you can get the olive oil that's going to most likely help you with your blood pressure. If you have the body, physique, whatever, DNA, where your body's going to benefit from this Mediterranean diet is what they call it, although there's no diet here. Pop-Tarts and olive oil I don't think are Mediterranean, but either way, if you're going to be doing the shot of olive oil, you got to do the right type of olive oil. Otherwise, I think your chances go down dramatically in getting any type of benefit effect like I have. That's really it. I'll give you a little sample of how I do this shot, just so you know how you can get it down without. Oh, and before I do that, I'm going to say the first 2 or 3 days, yeah, I don't want to say I got an upset stomach, but taking in a shot of olive oil was a little gurgly for maybe 20, 30 minutes after. I didn't feel like I was going to puke. I just felt mildly queasy, but nowhere near bad, nowhere near a problem. Just some basic stuff, you know. And it was because I wasn't used to it. And what did I do? Just eat some freaking bread, man. I've been to Italian restaurants like That's Amore and everything, and the appetizers, they give you some bread, some fresh Italian bread. They pour olive oil in a little bowl. They put some black pepper on it and some Parmesan cheese. They mix it up, and that becomes your bread dip. So if you do get the queasy feeling, just eat a couple a couple slices of bread, and you should be fine. But I'm well past that mark, and this is how I do it. Chaser for me it's right-handed, your primary hand, secondary hand, shot of olive oil. How we're going to do this, I'm going to take maybe one little sip, swish it around, swallow it. Then I'm going to take my pre-chaser, and I'm not going to swallow it. I'm going to hold it in my mouth. While I'm holding it in my mouth, I'm going to put the olive oil in, I'm going to throw it back. As soon as this comes down, this is going to go. I'm going to put my head back, take in a big sip of this, and it all goes down. Let's see if I can get this right in one take. Here we go. Pre-chaser, or whatever, precursor. Down. Now, pre-chaser. Nothing. I didn't even taste that olive oil. And then what I'll usually do, because I don't want to waste it, because it's $25 a bottle, I'll swish around a little bit of this. It's heavily diluted. If you need to, you can chase the aftershot. I don't. I'm 30 days into this. It doesn't even faze me. But anyway, look, if you're out there and you got a blood pressure issue and you don't want to go to the doctor, and you should still go to a doctor. I'm still going to go to a doctor, but you don't want to run to the doctor right away. You want to try to do the best you can of getting that blood pressure in check before you go see the doctor, which, again, I'm not saying don't see a doctor. It's still good to see a cardiologist about all this, but I don't want to walk in there and have the immediate knee-jerk reaction is, here's your prescription. I want to go in there with a reasonable blood pressure, still need to get checked out and all that. However, I don't want to go in there at 170, 180. I want to go in there in the 130s and just tell them, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the doctor I'm doing these shots, and it got my blood pressure. I'm going to tell the doctor, I'm bring the machine with me because it's got a memory, and I'll say, here's where I started, here's where I wound up. So anyway, maybe I'm the only guy in the world that this happens to work for. I don't know. I thought it was BS, complete crap, when I saw these other olive oil salesmen, which is what I thought they'd be, making these YouTube videos, and I said, you know, $25, you know, I'll give it a shot and see what happens. And I'm going to give you a little secret tip. If you find a brand like I did, this brand actually sells it in a box. So you can buy a box for the same price as a $7.50. So I can get the 1.5 liters for under $30, but it comes in a box. But what I do is I take the lid, the cap off of this, and I pop off the little pourer, and I refill this bottle, which I keep close to my bed, and I just refill that bottle when it goes to the bottom, right? So that way, the box, no one has to see the box. I don't really care. I used to drink box wine years ago, and I liked wine. And that will save you a lot of money. You don't have to pay for the packaging in the bottle. You can buy a really good olive oil, single harvest. What are we saying here? Single harvest, single farm, no blends, cold press. You can get that in a box and save a lot of money on packaging. So there's a more cost-effective way to do this. You're still going to spend over $20, which is my threshold for good olive oil, but it'll work. It'll get the price down, saves you a little bit of money. Hopefully somebody out there in YouTube land who's got a blood pressure issue watches this video and realizes I'm not an olive oil salesman, I'm not sponsored, and I just had a really good result. Maybe I'm the only one in the world, but I did. It's not expensive or difficult to give this a try, especially if you drink it the way I've been doing it. Yeah, and maybe I save a life. Hey, maybe I don't. I don't know. Anyway, love to hear comments. You guys can tell me what you think of this. Whether something else might be causing this, I don't know. I'm no doctor. But I watched some videos. I did a little research. I did a little reading. And I figured I'll give this a try before I go see my cardiologist. Maybe it'll help you too. Thanks as always for watching. Sorry that I'm not a good YouTube person. My videos suck. I know that. I'm not good at filming the stuff. But I'm really here to just share some information of something that benefited me. Maybe it'll benefit you. Anyway, this is Dave saying goodbye. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And hopefully maybe I help somebody. Who knows? We'll see. Comments, flame me, love me, whatever. Bye-bye.